It is tradition to catch up with Muhammad Mokaev ahead of his fights. He takes on Jafel Filho next week at UFC 286. Mo, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. All good.
You're in Manchester after spending a training camp at Thailand, right? Is this kind of you closing out just so you can be on the right time zone and be in the area?
Yes, usually I come back to UK 2 weeks before the fight. Different climate, time, and the weather a little bit cold here.
Well, it's good you're telling me that so I can make sure that I'm warm when I'm there next week,
It's actually
inshallah, for the.
snowing, you know. Yeah.
Oh man, okay. I don't do very good with cold weather, but good to know. I'll bring a I'll bring a lot of jackets. Now, Mo, of course, I have to ask you about your shoulder because you underwent surgery. When did you undergo surgery exactly? End of December?
I didn't do surgery.
You didn't do surgery, so you
No.
you decided against surgery.
I decided to do maybe after the fight, but I recovered enough to fight.
Okay, interesting. So was this kind of a decision so you can make it to the fight that you felt like if you did surgery that you weren't going to be able to make it?
If I make surgery, I'll probably be out maybe 6 7 months minimum without recovery. Yeah.
So if I could ask you like why not wait until your shoulder is like 100%? Are you kind of eager to stay active? Like why jump on this or want to be fight in London again? What was the reason?
I just believe I just believe I can beat these guys. I can beat these guys. I just believe in the and um I have always struggled before my fights. Always sickness. Sometimes something happens. It's not always like 100%, and not just me. All fighters I think like this. Like I think like 95% of fighters don't go inside the cage 100%. So it's okay. I did sparring. I feel good, and I'm confident I will win this fight.
What happened to your shoulder exactly?
Um, I sparred with Nikita Mikhailov. He's a Bellator bantamweight. I made the suplex and landed on my shoulder, and I say to my coaches, I see it come out a little bit, the bone AC joint, and I said, can you put it in? I want to carry on, and they took me to hospital, and then I found out what happened. So I fly back to UK next 2 days, and I want to start rehab as soon as possible so I can still fight on March 18th. And I did rehab for 2 weeks here, went back to Thailand again, and start doing like bike sessions and little bit swimming, a lot of recovery, and start sparring slowly.
Was this hard for you to like after sustaining the injury to like were you worried that maybe you won't feel 100% by the time your fight comes? Like that must have been hard for you during training camp.
100% I accepted the fight when I couldn't even lift my hand. I said to Mick, I said, it's 10 weeks out. If worst case scenario, I will let you know 5 weeks before the fight if I'm I still can't lift the hand, and then start getting better. And they announced it anyway on the same week. So once they announced it, I said there's no chance I'm pulling out.
So coaches, manager, everything, what were they telling you? Were they telling you, Mo, like you don't need to take this fight? Were they trying to talk to you out of it?
They know I decide whatever. If I decide, then nobody can stop me. I know I listen to everyone. But at the end of the day, I make my own decision because I'm the one who's stepping inside the cage.
So did you have to kind of take it easy in training camp in terms of wrestling, rapping, all this stuff, like not have like your usual training?
Yes, I was sparring at Tiger Muay Thai. I picked 5 guys like similar weight to me, and it was one hand sparring. They were shooting. I still defend with one hand. Stuff like this. I had like tape. I don't know what it's called on my shoulder. So just one hand, and then when start getting better, using another hand. Now much better. But guys helped me a lot over there.
So how are you feeling right now, 1 week away from the fight?
Feeling good.
Mobility.
Both hands working. So I'm not gonna make any excuses after the fight. I'm saying now I'm recovered.
Okay, and you get Jafel Filho, Contender Series graduate. Couldn't get a ranked opponent. I'm assuming. I see you calling out guys all the time, but here you are again with somebody who's making his UFC debut. So has this been you're used to it, I know, from before the UFC, but has this been a little frustrating that you haven't been able to get that ranked opponent to kind of take your career to the next level?
At 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 the early stage, yes, I didn't understand why UFC no make them like fight, make them. It's basically UFC is a business, isn't it? So they have to tell fighters you have to fight. If they don't have serious excuses like Tim Elliott is injured, if he's injured, that's it. But you cannot just say no. And like Matt Schnell said, he don't want to fight in UK. Where you want to fight? A cage is a cage. No matter where you fight. I think it's good for him to build his fan base here. And David Dvorak is just declined it. So at the start I was angry. Now I just understand that if I keep winning, what they can do. My ranking still goes up, and I just gonna stay active, and eventually I will fight for the belt.
Are you going to reach a point where you're going to say, like, if you beat Jafel, like, are you going to reach a point where you're like, no, I can't keep taking guys who are making their UFC debut. I need a ranked opponent. Or are you going to reach a point where you start saying no?
No. I'm gonna fight whoever they put in front of me, but I have to let them know after this fight that I'm chasing to be youngest UFC champion. So if they want me to be youngest UFC champion, they can make it. They just have to make other fighters to fight me, like Amir Albazi and these guys who just don't accept the fight.
And what do you think of Jafel as an opponent? He's on a nice winning streak. He's got some finishes by submission and knockout. What do you think of the stylistic matchup?
Is I would say he's average fighter, just aggressive, explosive fighter, and like skill wise, I won't say he's same level as me. Maybe a little bit stronger. Of course, they're all gonna be because they age, but skill wise, I'm better than anyone in this division. I'm more round fighter than these guys.
Do you not look at kind of these fights and think it's a little bit risky for you to be fighting these guys? They have a lot more to gain than you, right? You're the kind of the fighter with a lot of hype and stuff like that. So do you ever sit back and think this is a little bit risky for me?
100%. It's a risky, but uh, when top 15 guys never want to fight me and they say you're not top 15, it's a lot of risk. Now I'm in top 15 and I want to fight anyone. It's a risk, but it's my job. If I don't want to wait after the match, it will be Ramadan. I'm gonna miss a lot of months this year since October, and there's nearly 6-7 months I'm gonna miss if I don't fight in March. So whoever UFC put in front of me, I accept it straight away.
And yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Ramadan's going to be a couple of days after UFC 286. So is that part of the motivation as well, other than staying active? Well, part of it, staying active, of course, was getting to fight before Ramadan?
Yes, because in Ramadan I want to spend time with my family, spend time learning my religion, and I'm still young. I still got a lot of like holes where I can learn something new, and every year I believe I understand more, and so I don't sit and think about fighting. I just want to enjoy food, family, and that's it. But if I didn't fight, I probably have to control my food at night time and get ready for July. But it's good motivation, I think.
Have you ever fought during Ramadan, like while fasting?
No, I don't think I would too.
Yeah, because I mean, I know what it's like to fast. I definitely don't know what it's like to cut weight or fight. But for people on the outside that don't know much about Ramadan, what for you is kind of the reason why you wouldn't fight in Ramadan? Because a lot of guys don't want to.
Because it's a holy month, and whatever sins you make, it could double them. And I don't think I can put fighting into priority more than this month. That's my because my life changed a lot, and I wasn't that religious till I start become successful in my life. The more successful I become, the more I understand that Allah changed my life. He has like good plans for me, and I cannot be unthankful. I have to be like grateful for opportunity for where I am today.
I respect that. And when you look at the flyweight division right now, some movement. I mean, Brandon Moreno's back as champion, but it's kind of been Moreno Figueiredo, Moreno Figueiredo. Figueiredo seems like he's going to go to bantamweight. I don't know. He said that potentially he'll might take his next fight at flyweight. But what do you make kind of the picture? It seems like that chapter is over. Is it nice to see that now the division is going to move on a little bit?
I couldn't see I couldn't watch Figueredo last fight. When he makes weight, he's not Figueredo that he's. When he fight last fight, I say this fight would be easier than fighting Charles Johnson for me, because not because he's a bad fighter, it's because of his weight cut. He's not his concentration not there. He's not fully hydrated, and when you're not fully hydrated, your focus is not there. You're like in the clouds. That's how you feel, and I'm happy for him to. So he made the right decision if you're moving to bantamweight. But finally, division little bit opened. Maybe we'll see Pantoja versus Moreno next.
Yeah, and if we do see that fight, how do you see it playing out?
I think Pantoja will win this fight if it gets to the ground. But striking wise and setting up stuff, I think Moreno is much better.
I know it might be a little bit early, but of course you have aspirations of becoming the youngest UFC champion. So if Brandon Moreno, he's the current champion, how do you think you match up with him? What do you make of Brandon as a fighter?
I think he's a great as a human being. I think as a fighter he's great too. But as a human, I really like this guy. Most guy I like in this division, and if I fight him, I don't know how I'm gonna talk trash to him, because this guy got kicked out of UFC. Most guys, 90% they get kicked out and they break down mentally. They fight on local shows, get some money, go to like different organization. But this guy came back, won the title. He has strong mentality, but stylistically, I'm worst matchup for him.
What? I'm assuming you're thinking ground game. That's why you're grappling.
I wouldn't say I'm a grappler. I never said I'm a high level like Damien Maia grappler. I'm just all round fighter. I would say little bit striking, little bit wrestling, little bit jiu-jitsu, and they cannot predict what I'm gonna do, and I'm scrambling a lot.
And one final one before I let you go. Jon Jones, the guy who holds the record for youngest UFC champion, he just became heavyweight champion. He second UFC belt. What did you think of his performance over Cyril Gane?
Amazing. He's a pound for pound number one, I think, in the world. I think become youngest UFC champion, 15 title fights, right? And he done so much for the sport, and people judge him on what he did outside of the sport. But everyone makes mistakes. Everyone would make. We don't know where we're gonna end up. We have to just support each other, and we just we cannot like say he's a bad guy forever. He's done a lot for the sport.
Is it extra special that Jon Jones is the guy that you get to beat the record of if you fulfill your goal, that it's Jon Jones of all people?
I think so. I want to beat his record, and I watched his fights a lot when I was younger, and I really like his style. Yeah.
Well, Mo, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to seeing you next week in London, inshallah. Best of luck.
See you there.